Dreaming big is painful to me. My mentor just left me as homework to create a vision board for my life, one that includes short, mid, and long-term goals. As I've shared in my blog, I'm no stranger to goal setting. Because of that, I'm also familiar with failing to achieve my goals. I have created vision boards in the past. My mentor has also taught me to dream big and put those goals in my board. And so I've dreamt big and created goals that stretch me. That's actually a thing. It's a goal setting method, and that is literally what they are called, stretch goals. Stretch goals are ambitious targets that go beyond what you currently believe is achievable. They typically push people outside their comfort zones. These big goals are made to help you try your absolute best and think in new and creative ways to reach them, even if it feels a bit uncomfortable or tough at first. For example, I could have the goal of starting a small business, maybe a side hustle, and make my first 20K by the end of the year. If that already sounds achievable to me, then I should stretch it some more and make it 60K. So you push yourself and work hard towards those 60K. At the end of the year, maybe you make 40K. You didn't quite reach the goal of making 60K, but you ended up making more than what your original goal was, so it's still a win. This might work for most people, but it didn't work for me. The struggle with stretch goals. I've repeatedly attempted setting stretch goals. However, more often than not, I've failed to achieve them. I'm not sure if it's my rebellious personality, but I just have two issues with this approach. First, I would take this stretch goal seriously. I may be too black and white, but I just don't have the personality of going halfsies. And so in the example I just shared, even if I achieved 40K, I would still feel like I failed because I didn't make the 60K I set my mind to. But in all honesty, typically what would happen is that I would get overwhelmed by the 60K. Subconsciously, I would wonder, how on earth am I going to achieve that? Where do I start? It feels impossible and unrealistic. I can't make that work. And these kinds of thoughts would paralyze me, and I would easily fall into procrastination. And then I would achieve $0, which is an even bigger failure. And so this typically embarrassed me, especially because I tend to enthusiastically share my goals with others. And as a result, even today, I often feel like a failure. As I reflect on these experiences, I find that whenever I think about creating ambitious goals, I'm reminded of the dreams I've had over the last 10 years that I have yet to accomplish. Not all goal-setting strategies work for everyone. We are not all the same. Some people thrive under pressure, others collapse. You are allowed to reevaluate and adapt goal-setting approaches to what works best for you. ADHD and goal setting. I refuse to root my identity in a diagnosis, but I do wonder if any of this is related to my recently diagnosed ADHD. When I was first diagnosed, I got into hyper-focus mode with the subject. I wanted to learn all about ADHD brains. What are our challenges? What are our shortcomings? And my husband would say, I don't want you to use this as a crutch, because he would be worried that I would no longer try to be mindful about closing the cabinets and drawers after I opened them, because, now I have like the perfect excuse to not do that anymore. And so I would just bark at him like, I'm not using it as a crutch. And I wasn't really lying. I mean, honestly, I have ADHD, but that doesn't scratch the fact that I am still an overachieving, ambitious, feisty, competitive Latina. I honestly just wanted to learn my shortcomings to understand what am I working with here. If I don't understand how to drive my car, how am I gonna get anywhere? So with that said, when it comes to goal setting, this is what I have discovered. ADHD causes impaired executive function due to a lack of dopamine in the brain. Executive function controls focus, self-motivation, emotional regulation, and the ability to organize thoughts and exert effort. And so if you think about it, that doesn't blend well with the concept of stretch goals. Let's start with focus. When you're pursuing stretch goals, this often requires sustained attention and consistent effort over an extended period of time. and people with ADHD typically struggle to maintain the necessary focus due to the dopamine-related challenges in attention regulation. Carrying on with self-motivation, dopamine also plays a vital role in motivation. An ADHD brain's reward system might not respond as strongly to delayed or abstract rewards, and so that makes it harder to stay motivated for long-term goals that require prolonged effort without immediate rewards. Carrying on with emotional regulation, same. When you're constantly falling short of reaching stretch goals, that can negatively impact your self-esteem and lead to feelings of failure or inadequacy, and people with ADHD most likely would have a hard time regulating those emotions. And lastly, ability to organize. People with ADHD, they tend to struggle with managing time. It's also called time blindness. And because of that, challenging goals can be overwhelming, making the goals seem unattainable and then leading to frustration. So in the US alone, less than 3% of the population is estimated to have ADHD. So even with as much content as we may be seeing nowadays about people with ADHD on TikTok and how it seems like today everyone has ADHD, in reality, we're still a minority. And I do wonder if our current goal-setting tactics are not neurodivergent friendly. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm not expecting the world to adapt to my neurodivergent challenges. I am totally against making the world adapt to my personal shortcomings. But I do think that having tools to function in the real world would be helpful. Just as there are tools and strategies to goal setting for the neurotypical folks, why not encourage some other tools that fit our brains a little bit better? Stop overwhelming yourself with goals and drowning in your own expectations. Stop fixating on ticking off outcomes. Redirect your focus into becoming who you envision instead. It was never about targets anyways. It was about reaching your full potential. The be, do, have philosophy. With that said, I find that doing the opposite is actually better. I'd rather focus on smaller goals rather than bigger goals. And instead of focusing on achievement when goal setting, I find it easier, aka more doable, which also equals to more action, to focus on who I need to become. Thankfully, this concept is not new, so I don't need to reinvent the wheel to explain it. So this concept was actually taught by Zig Ziglar, and it's called the be, do, have method or philosophy. This philosophy basically states that we often live life backwards. Most people first strive to have something, maybe more money, a fit body, a boyfriend, so that they can do what's important to them, like travel more, look thin, love someone, which will then finally enable them to be something happy, attractive, fulfilled. The philosophy states that we have it backwards. You've got to be before you can do, and do before you can have. With that perspective, your first focus should be on what are you going to do today to be the right kind of person? What specific character or quality or skill are you going to work on? What are you going to listen to or read? This is also related to the biblical principle of faithful in little, faithful in plenty. You need to learn to be happy today, feel attractive today, be fulfilled today. If you think about it, it all actually roots down to gratitude. If you learn to appreciate what you already have, you will be happy. If you learn to appreciate the qualities and traits that you already possess, you will feel more attractive. If you learn to pour your love to the people that you already have in life, or maybe seek for volunteering opportunities, then you will feel fulfilled. In consequence, a happy, grateful person naturally attracts more opportunities to make more money. A person that genuinely loves themselves naturally finds ways to care for themselves and their bodies. and a fulfilled whole person is more emotionally ready to find love and get a boyfriend. I hope you get the idea. So once that we have the being covered, we can move forward with doing. I personally find it motivating to focus on continuing to do things that will make me the kind of person that has what I want. So, with the same examples, what kind of person makes money? Disciplined people, financially savvy people, smart people. So what can I do to be the kind of person that makes money? What can I do to be more disciplined, more financially savvy, and more intelligent? Well, I can start working out to develop discipline. I can start a budget or learn to invest to become financially savvy. And I can start reading more to develop my intellect. What kind of person has a fit body? Informed people, healthy people, disciplined people. What can I do to be the kind of person that has a fit body? What can I do to be more informed, healthier, and more disciplined? Well, I can learn more about my body to be more informed. I can start eating cleaner to be healthier. I can start working out to be more disciplined. You get the picture. So you're not looking for perfection, but rather intentional, incremental changes on the road to being the person you want to become. And as you become that person, you position yourself to increase the odds of achieving what you wanted to achieve originally. You're allowed to start small if that will lead to consistency. Overcoming the resistance tied to larger goals becomes achievable with smaller actions. Build habits and stay motivated. This will be the foundation for greater achievements over time. Starting small, the power of 10 minutes. Another thing I keep in mind when doing is that I meet myself where I am at. Let's take working out as an example. There are specific workouts that promote fat burn and muscle toning, but unfortunately, I have a historic record of not being consistent with them. So, with this new mindset, I'm no longer working out with the purpose of being fit. I am working out with the purpose of becoming a disciplined person. So to develop discipline, I can start by being consistent. So what can I do? I can find a workout that I can sustain in the long term. So that's what I'm doing right now. I'm starting small with something that I can sustain, which is why my current goal is to work out every day for just 10 minutes. In general, my focus right now is to spend just 10 minutes doing something that will help me be who I want to become. Starting with just 10 minutes makes it easier to get going and stick with anything. Here's some reasons why. 1, it's easier to get started. When you begin with only 10 minutes, it doesn't feel like too much. 2, doing it every day is manageable. Because it's such a short time, it's easier to fit even if you have a busy schedule. 3, your brain gets used to it. After a while, your brain will create a habit and it will no longer be a struggle to get started. 4, small steps do matter, okay? Small steps allow you to focus more on doing it regularly than doing it perfectly. And as it becomes a habit, you can slowly make it longer or more challenging. And this will help you stay motivated to keep going. Doing something small each day creates a sense of achievement. This creates dopamine, which motivates you to keep going. So with that in mind, I am now attempting to work out 10 minutes a day, read 10 minutes a day, and study 10 minutes a day. It may not sound like much, but my former reality was not doing anything at all because it all felt too challenging. And so far I've been succeeding, so it's been great. So some final thoughts. I think in general, it's good to look at the big picture. Sometimes we get so laser focused on building something great that we start getting distracted in our pursuit of personal growth. If you have great goals, you need to become great yourself in order to sustain it. I mean, God forbid he gives you everything you dream when you weren't ready yet, and then you lose it. Can you imagine? Maybe you meet the love of your life when you still haven't gotten rid of your toxic traits. You would lose that person after 4 months of dating. So sometimes it's good that you don't get some things just yet. You need to first develop personally in order to sustain it. Okay, personal growth is foundational for the journey towards achieving goals. There is value in understanding oneself, adapting your strategy if it doesn't work for you, and being patient throughout the process. So I really hope that these lessons also help you grow, and that all of these self-reflection that I just shared also encourages you to reflect on your own approach to goal setting. And I don't know, maybe the be, do, have philosophy is the reframing that you needed as well. So what are your thoughts? Please share your experiences with goal setting strategies in the comments below, and let me know if you'll give the be, do, have philosophy a try too. I'll see you in the next video. If you like this video, make sure to like it, share it with people that you feel that will find this useful, and I'll see you in the next one.